Hey YouTube, and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk to you about Beauty and the Beast. The movie has been all over the news, causing a little controversy here and there. I just watched it, I just got back, and it is a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. The movie is about 35 minutes longer than the original, and while they did go deeper into the background of certain characters, there's also some changes they made that, yeah, I don't know if they were for the better. This is the conclusion of the spoiler free part of the review. The next part will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, continue at your own risk because there are changes from the original. If you want to be surprised when watching the movie, again, proceed with caution. So, the biggest winner in this movie has got to be the dynamic between Gaston and Le Fou. Yes, that's right, not Belle, not the Beast. Gaston and Le Fou. Gaston in the original movie is this pompous prick, pardon my French, but that's what he is, and that is pretty much also all he is. Now, in this movie, Luke Evans, who plays Gaston, he really does a smashing job of portraying a character that is like the Gaston in the original movie, but also a lot more relatable. He seems to be slightly less pushy. He seems to be, there is something, they go into his background more. Turns out that he just got home from the war, things like that. So, you get more of a backstory. And Le Fou, who in the original movie, well, I keep saying the original movie, but I think that in that case, I would be talking about Jean Cocteau's original Beauty and the Beast. I when I say the original movie, I mean the original Disney cartoon or animated movie. Just to clarify that. And Le Fou in that movie just runs behind Gaston, and everything Gaston says is also Le Fou's opinion, and he just nods and, basically runs after Gaston, kind of like a dog. In this movie, Le Fou becomes his own character who even dares to go against Gaston at a point. At the end of the movie, where in the original Le Fou kind of just disappears, you see in this movie Le Fou actually turn on Gaston and start helping the castle staff and Belle to fight against the villagers and Gaston, which was a pleasant surprise. Le Fou in this movie is also definitely a lot more gay. They don't say it with as many words, but yeah, they definitely give you the impression that this guy is under no circumstances straight. Also, a big plus for this movie is the fact that there is more of a background for Belle as well, and Maurice has been upgraded slightly from the crazy inventor dad to this wonderful artist who likes to mess around with cogs and stuff, and who has kind of a sad backstory because you also find out what happened to Belle's mom, who is never mentioned in all of the cartoon. In this movie, we find out what happened to her. It's kind of a sad story. It turns out that Belle was born in Paris, and her mom contracted the plague. So her dad picked her up because at that time she was an infant. He just picked her up and left town, and basically left his wife, to die, not to risk the life of their infant daughter. They show you the scene, and it is actually the wife who suggests that, they go and take Belle towards safety. Now, this is interesting because you totally miss any mention of Belle's mother in the cartoon. That makes it kind of interesting. Now, on a side note, Ian McKellen, who voices and plays Cogsworth, is hilarious at the end, where you know how the movie ends. It ends the same way as the original did and the cartoon. You get to see him in this powdered wig with this like weird little mustache thing. It is hilarious, let me tell you. Now, now we come to the parts that I personally did not like. First of all, Emma Watson does a bang up job as Belle, but the character is pretty much a carbon copy from the one in the cartoon. Um, I feel like they could have done more. The problem kind of also is that Belle and Hermione, which is another very famous character portrayed by Emma Watson, as you may know, they have similarities, and it's sometimes hard to distinguish between the two. And then there is the Beast. Now, the actor who plays the Beast, Dan Stevens, does a really great, he tries, he definitely tries, but the CGI does really strange things to his face, and it kind of makes the movie hard to enjoy at certain points because you keep looking at how his face is shifting around, and yeah, it ain't pretty, people, let me tell you. The same goes for all of the other CGI characters, and if you've seen the original, well, if you've seen the cartoon, you know there's a lot of CGI characters in this movie. Um, I can understand why Disney made the choice to do this as CGI. No issue there, or no discussion there. But I still wonder if it wouldn't have been better to have at least the Beast do the makeup thing, or do part makeup, part CGI. I don't know. They will have had their reasons, but it's just the guy is drowning in the CGI and the character kind of gets washed out. The movie feels slightly less Stockholm syndrome than the original, which is also a bonus. On the other hand, you kind of miss a few scenes from the cartoon as they are in the cartoon. Like, the dress is slightly altered, which in itself isn't a problem. The bedroom Belle stays in is also different, also not a problem. The iconic dance floor, totally different. Not that that has to be a problem, but for a movie that is pretty much banking on nostalgia, yeah. There was something else, uh, and I can't remember what. Oh, yeah. So this is something totally different, but in the trailer, there's a few trailers out and about, of course. At a certain point, you see Belle, and they start singing the Bonjour song. And there is this character named Maurice. No, Maurice is Belle's dad. I can't remember his name. Monsieur Jean. And he's like, "Oh, I've forgotten something," he says to Belle, and I can't remember what I've forgotten. Now, people were speculating, excuse me, that this might be a reference to Harry Potter, in which, the scene with Neville and the Remembrall, and the smoke in the Remembrall turns red, indicating Neville forgot something, and he can't remember what he has forgotten. Now, it turns out that that is something way, way bigger. Apparently, Monsieur Jean, at the end of the movie, he turns out to be Mr. Potts, the husband of Mrs. Potts. Um, there's another, yeah, I remember it again. Ewan McGregor, um, I don't know what was going on with him, but for some reason, he is Lumiere in this movie, and I don't know, it just didn't work. I'm really sorry. I love Ewan McGregor. He is a fantastic actor, but this movie or this character, it just doesn't work for him. Was it the fact that it was mostly CGI? I have no idea. No, no. I love Lumiere in the cartoon. He is fantastic, albeit maybe a bit of a womanizer in the cartoon. But in this movie, I am so sorry, Ewan McGregor, but it just didn't work. Um, Also, the song Be Our Guest, while iconic in the cartoon, for some reason starts off really oddly in this movie. It just doesn't seem to flow as well as in the cartoon. It does pick up towards the end and becomes, the classic you all know and maybe even love. Um, Yeah, so like I said, the movie is definitely enjoyable. It bangs on nostalgia massively, but I feel like the CGI may have gotten in the way of things. At points, they just go so overboard with it that you are starting to wonder, like, where do I have to look first now? Um, it's just, yeah. Um, if you like the cartoon or Jean Cocteau's original, definitely go see this movie. It is worth the watch, but don't expect anything radically new, like a totally different story. Yeah. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. I love hearing from you all. That is gonna do it for me. I hope you had a wonderful Friday or are having a wonderful Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.